All right, so we're back.
We're back. We're here. It's July.
And we are releasing on Monday, the 4th of July.
Yes.
Even though it's a holiday.
Yes, we're still releasing on Monday, even though I feel as though not a lot of people will probably listen to it tomorrow.
They may,
okay.
and like if they're, you know what, it'd be the perfect time because a lot of people might be going to see fireworks and traffic is always horrible. So kill some time by listening to
Us.
Mysteriosities.
Or maybe you're cooking and you're making some pasta salad and you need to cut all your vegetables, which is a time-consuming task.
Yeah.
So, you know.
So listen to us.
Maybe you need somebody to listen to while you're cutting your broccoli. I don't know. I don't know. There's broccoli in my pasta salad recipe. That's why I said that.
Yeah.
I don't really like broccoli that much, but
Me.
it's still in there because I can't be selfish.
All right. So I'm Miara.
I'm Morgan.
And we are
Mysteriosities.
We kind of vibed that.
It's kind of like a low-key vibe, you know?
Yeah. So,
We're here. We're ready for another week, but there will be no movie references this week.
how do you know? Maybe there will. Maybe I'll come up with something.
Well, there won't be as many
Yeah.
as there were last week.
Yeah, that was a little much, but it was funny.
It was our longest episode, and it was probably 45 minutes of Titanic references.
Was it our longest?
I think so.
All right, so we are going to be talking about the disappearance of Dorothy Arnold today. So I'll start with a little background.
I'm ready. Hit me with the background. Actually, let me open my pink lemonade first.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to make a noise. I'm ready now. Thank you.
Dorothy Arnold was born Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold on July 4th, July 1st, 1885.
The way I was about to be like, oh my God, birthday girl. It's being released on her birthday.
But it's still pretty close.
Oh, yeah. It's close. She's what is that?
I didn't plan on doing that, but it just kind of happened.
What is that? Leo? No, Leo's end of July. What's before Leo? What is it right now?
Cancer. It's Cancer. Yeah.
Cancer. Sorry, everybody. I'm still learning.
She was born on July 1st, 1885 in New York City, more specifically in the Manhattan area, to a very wealthy family. So just a description of the type of person Dorothy was. She was described as a quiet-looking, sturdy girl with a healthy complexion. She had brown hair done up in a high pompadour and steady blue-gray eyes.
Oh.
I thought that was fun.
I don't remember what a pompadour is.
Although it's kind of like up, but like sturdy girl sounds like...
I don't know that I would want someone to describe me as that.
She looks pretty sturdy.
Hey, what does that even mean? That a breeze wouldn't blow her over?
Right.
Like,
That's kind of rude.
no.
I feel like it's kind of rude.
I'm like, thanks.
Like, I feel like people call people sturdy when they're overweight, but I don't think she was.
Or they're like really broad, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, like a tree trunk.
Yeah, either way, it doesn't
built
sound...
like a tree. Yeah, it's kind of rude.
sound like the nicest description.
Right. She was the second of 4 children, born to Francis Rose Arnold. He was a perfume importer, and his wife, Mary Martha Parks Arnold. She had an older brother, John, who was born in December of 84, which is kind of weird to me because she was born July of 85.
That seems like that might be
right.
Like some
I wonder if that's just like a mess up.
Yeah, like some mixed signals.
Because I was like, wait a minute. That's not like, enough time unless she was born pretty early, which at that time I don't think she would have been born safely that early.
And that's considering her like getting immediately pregnant after having the son. That seems like there might be some signal crossing.
But she also had 2 younger siblings, Dan Hinckley. He was born in February of 88, and Marjorie Brewster, born August of 1891. So Dorothy's father was a Harvard grad and became a senior partner of F.R. Arnold and Company, which was a company that imported expensive goods. His was specifically perfumes and colognes. And then Mr. Arnold's sister was, her name was Harriet Maria Arnold, and she was married to Supreme Court Justice Rufus W. Peckham. So basically the family knew people in high places.
I wonder if the Supreme Court was better in 18 whatever.
Doubt it.
Horrible from their conception.
Also, on Mr. Arnold's side, he bragged about this. The heritage goes back to the Mayflower. So ancestors of his family were English coming over on the Mayflower. It is said that the Arnolds were descendants of William Brewster, who was the leader of the colony of Pilgrims formed when the Mayflower landed.
People love tracing themselves back to the Mayflower.
Yeah.
They love that.
They do.
Like, why?
He especially did.
Colonizers.
Like, he always reminded people about it.
Colonizers. Silly little outfits and your land stealing. Pilgrim outfits are stupid.
With their little bonnets.
Exactly.
And their weird hats.
Yeah.
And their high socks.
Yeah.
And basically capri pants.
And their, you know...
Pantaloons.
Their pantaloons.
So
and
they're called.
Land stealing.
Yeah, their land stealing ways.
And their...
They broke bread with the Native Americans, though.
And then they broke their promises.
Broke their promise.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
So anyway, Dorothy's mother was from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Or Quebec. Quebec. I don't know. It's weird.
I always say Quebec.
I do too, but I feel like...
Is that just American of us and we're wrong?
I don't know. Yo, Canadians, I know you're listening out there. Comment.
Yeah, so wait, you're saying it's not Quebec, it's like, it could be like...
Quebec.
Quebec?
I think it's Quebec, but...
But Quad does, that has a little extra jazz, but like, is it too much jazz?
I don't know. Because of the Arnold's standing as a family, they were listed in the Social Register, which the Social Register was a semi-annual publication that began being published in the 1880s and lists the members of American high society. It was basically a guide to New York City's richest families. Dorothy received a private school education at the Velton School for Girls in New York City. She then went on to continue her education at Bryn Mawr College in Pennsylvania, where she studied literature and language.
Okay.
Okay. Podcat. She graduated from college in 1905 and stayed living at her home with her parents at 108 East 79th Street. So once she graduated, she began writing, hoping to soon become an established writer. In the spring of 1910, Dorothy actually submitted one of her short stories to McClure's magazine, but it was rejected.
Damn it, McClure's.
Yeah. And then 2 months before she went missing, Dorothy asked her father if she could get an apartment in Greenwich Village in order to write. Her father told her she was not allowed to move out of the house, and basically, if she was any good, then she could write anywhere. Just kind of douchey.
Yeah, but like, why do you need an apartment to write?
I don't know. Maybe she wanted some independence.
Oh.
You know?
I guess so.
Also, not to be a jerk, but her dad is kind of a douche.
Okay, got it. He's a douche, got it.
So her friends and family were not very supportive of her writing dreams, and when her short story got rejected, they made fun of her for it.
That's rude.
Yeah. So because of the constant ridicule she received for writing from her family, she decided to rent her own post office box, where she would receive any and all correspondence from magazines and publishing houses. So she wouldn't even have to ring it up.
They wouldn't even know about it. I bet they opened her mail.
Probably. And she wrote and submitted another short story in November of 1910 called The Poinsettia and the Flame, but it was also rejected.
The poinsettia?
The poinsettia.
Like that Christmas flower?
Yeah.
I wonder what that was about.
Yeah, I don't know.
A Christmas flower and a flame.
Yeah, I don't know. So, the people closest to Dorothy said this second rejection really took its toll on her. She was discouraged and embarrassed. And she never did find any success from her writing.
You just gotta keep trying.
Yeah, you just gotta keep on keeping on.
Gotta keep doing it. And you can... Oh, hi, I didn't know Minerva was back on the chair.
Also, I wrote this down because it seems odd. And I think it might go along with something later, but there was an odd instance a month before Dorothy went missing. Dorothy visited her friend Theodora, which in another source it said Theodosia.
Well, that was a name.
I know. Theodosia.
In relation to Aaron Burser?
But multiple sources said Theodora, so I'm wondering if the other one just got it wrong. But anyway, I included it just in case.
Time has passed.
So her friend Theodora lived in Washington, D.C., and Dorothy was planning on staying with her friend for a long Thanksgiving weekend. Dorothy arrived at Theodora's house late Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, and then on Thanksgiving, Dorothy said she wasn't feeling well and wanted to stay in bed. Curious.
I mean, who's gonna say no to some stuffing?
I do love stuffing.
And some mashed
potatoes. Those are my two favorites.
Some gravy.
I like baked beans.
And rolls.
I don't even care about, like, the main course.
That's
I'm not a big meat person. I'm like, give me all the sides.
That's such a, like, Thanksgiving thing, though. Like, everyone knows that the sides are better than the main course.
They are. Ooh, remember that, like, creamed corn casserole you made?
I love corn.
Oh, my God, that was so... I love corn, too. We all know I love corn.
You do love corn, that's a fact.
I'm always like, give me extra corn.
And she gets really upset when they don't. Like, if they don't,
yeah,
she gets very upset.
Like a baby Bob.
Not like a Karen, just like she wants to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't get mad about it, I just get upset.
She just eats it later, and she's like, this is extra corn.
This could have been so much better if there was more corn. Anyway.
A tragedy for the ages.
It is. So she wasn't feeling well, so she didn't go down for Thanksgiving. The same day, a bulky envelope was delivered to Dorothy, which I'm like...
A bulky envelope.
A bulky envelope. It was on a holiday.
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
She was at a friend's house in Washington, D.C.
Ooh, I also forgot about that.
Yeah, kind of weird.
And she had a P.O. box for mail for.
Yeah,
so, like,
and
what?
She didn't even open the envelope. She just tossed it aside. But I'm wondering if she did that when Theodora was there and, like, looked at it when she left. Probably.
I wonder what was in the envelope.
So we can speculate later. The next morning, which ended up being, it was Friday, Dorothy came downstairs ready to leave, fully dressed for travel with her bag. Theodora was under the impression that Dorothy was supposed to be staying until Monday, but Dorothy stated, oh no, I always planned to leave today. Kind of sketch.
That's a little sketch, because, like, you know... If your friend thinks you're staying all weekend,
right.
It's probably because you at one point said you were staying all
And
weekend.
then even when Dorothy got home, her mother was like, what are you doing here? You weren't supposed to be here till Monday.
See, exactly.
So, I just included that because that was a little weird.
That's definitely a little sketchy.
So, then let's get into the disappearance.
Oh, no.
So, on the morning, around 11 a.m., some places say like 11:30ish, of December 12th, 1910, Dorothy told her mother that she was going to go shopping for a new dress to wear to her younger sister Marjorie's upcoming debutante party.
Oh, not a debutante, a ball.
So, just to give you an idea.
Oh, hello, come on. Hello, little kitty.
Well, come on. So, just to give you an idea of, like, her outfit that she went out in. I thought it was pretty cool. She left in the proper attire that included a blue tailor-made suit, black velvet hat, and lapis lazuli matching hat pin and earrings.
Oh.
I didn't know what that meant, so I looked it up. And it's a deep blue metamorphic rock used as a semi-precious stone.
I knew that, actually.
I didn't know that, and it's so pretty.
I know. I did know that. I know some things.
But she has, like, a whole vibe about her. She also had a long blue coat on and carried a black fox muff.
She's a fashionista.
You know what a muff is?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't, it's one of those, like, puffy things you put around your hands and you can carry stuff in it.
I just said I did.
No, I know, but, like, for the listeners.
I know.
Just in case.
Just in case you needed to know. Because it's, you know, a little bit out of style now.
Yeah.
But since we're going back to the 1900s in a lot of ways, maybe you'll need a muff.
Right. So Mary Frances, which was Dorothy's mother, she offered to accompany her, but Dorothy declined. She said, you know, if I need you, if I find a dress, I'll give you a call, and then you can give me the money.
Okay.
So that's definitely very fancy of her.
Kind of convoluted, too. Like, it would be easier for her to
That's
just
true.
go with her.
Yeah. She's like, I don't need you.
Or
Maybe she just wanted to shop by herself.
she knew she was disappearing.
I don't like shopping for clothes with people. It's weird for me.
Or she knew she was disappearing.
Yeah, maybe. Could be. According to Dorothy's family, she had about $25 to $30 cash in her possession, which around today, that would be $923.
Oh, damn. That's some
So
inflation.
she had some cash. She walked from her home on 79th Street to the Park in Tilford, which was a department store in New York City, at the corner of 5th Avenue and 59th Street. At around 12 p.m., she charged a half-pound box of chocolates to her account and placed it in her muff, then walked 22 blocks south to Brentano's bookstore at 27th Street and 5th Avenue. This was equivalent to about 1.4 miles. So while at the bookstore, Dorothy purchased a book called Engaged Girl Sketches, which was a book of comedic essays by Emily Calvin Blake.
Okay.
It's kind of making fun of, like, how engaged girls are. It's kind of funny. I didn't read it, but I read about it. So both clerks that she interacted with to buy the chocolates said that and the bookstore said that she appeared to be completely normal, not exhibiting any odd behavior. She seemed cheery. And then when she was finished at the bookstore, she came out and she stumbled upon one of her friends, Gladys King.
Gladys King. That's a 1900s name.
It is Gladys. They had a conversation about Marjorie's debutante ball, party, and Gladys said that Dorothy seemed to be in good spirits, and Marjorie was going to be going to that party, so they were both kind of excited about it, talking about it. They went their separate ways because Gladys was meeting her mother for lunch at the Waldorf Astoria. Okay. So, she was wealthy, too.
Okay, we're being fancy.
Fancy. Gladys remembered Dorothy telling her she was going to walk home through Central Park. And that is when Gladys last saw Dorothy shortly before 2 p.m. It is said Gladys turned around a second time to wave goodbye to Dorothy. And that would be the last time she saw her. That just got me. That was sad to me that she turned around and was like, hope, that seems so hopeful. Like, oh, we're going to see each other at the debutante party and it's going to be fun. And
wouldn't it be creepy if she turned around to wave at her and she disappeared already?
That would be scary. That would be really scary.
She's already gone.
So there were no reports stating that Dorothy had ever shopped for the dress she was supposedly going to look for. It was early evening, and Dorothy hadn't returned home for dinner, which was weird for Dorothy because if she was going to be late, she always called home to tell them. This worried the Arnold family, so they started calling all of her friends to see if they had seen her, but no one did. Then this is weird.
Gladys saw her.
Well, yeah, but...
You didn't call Gladys?
Well, maybe not.
Come on.
So, shortly after midnight, the Arnolds received a phone call from Elsie Henry, who was one of Dorothy's friends. She called to check in to see if Dorothy had returned home, which that sounds like a good friend. Her friend said that Dorothy's mother answered the phone and told her that Dorothy had returned. Elsie asked if she could speak with her, and Mary hesitated, then told her that Dorothy had actually gone to bed due to a headache. So, now we're getting down to the investigation side of it. So because the Arnold family was a part of high society, I think this explains why she did that, but they were afraid that Dorothy's disappearance would draw too much media attention, and they didn't want that, and they didn't want it to embarrass the family. So
you want media attention to help figure out where your daughter is?
Right, but because of this, they did not report Dorothy missing for several weeks. 6 weeks after her disappearance, to be exact.
I'm sorry, 6?
6 weeks.
That's so fucking long.
That's 42 days.
That's a month and a half.
Yeah. It is believed that the Arnold family was reminded of a 1909 disappearance by a 13-year-old girl named Adele Boas, who was reported missing, but later they found that she had run away to Boston. And the Boas family were also a very well-known family in New York, and they were scandalized in the newspapers because of it. Oh, she just ran away. What's wrong with the family,
I guess.
So that's why, that was their excuse.
Priorities, though.
Right. So instead of notifying the police of the disappearance, they contacted a family friend, John S. Keith, who was also a lawyer, the morning of December 13th. So that very next morning. Keith stopped by the Arnold's home and searched Dorothy's bedroom. He didn't find any of her belongings missing. What he did find, though, were some personal letters with foreign postmarks in her desk, 2 folders for transatlantic ocean liners on the desk, and burned papers in the fireplace.
That is a suspicious array of things.
It is. They believe that the burnt papers were probably her rejected submissions to McClure's magazine, but we don't know for sure. For weeks after Dorothy's disappearance, Keith visited different jails, hospitals, and morgues all over the New York City, Boston, and Philadelphia area, but did not find any sign of her. So because
she's transatlantic.
Maybe. So because Keith wasn't having any luck with his own investigation, he suggested the Arnolds look into hiring Pinkerton detectives to investigate.
Pinkerton.
Which were a big, famous private eye.
Or with a name like Pinkerton.
Pinkerton. The Pinkerton brothers. No, I don't know.
Don't see? That has definite vibes, though.
It does.
100%.
We're the Pinkerton brothers here.
Mm-hmm. exactly
Anyway.
like that. That's their motto. That's what it says on their commercial.
Yeah.
That's what their business cards say. That's what they put on the billboards.
Oh, shit.
That's what they put on the jets that have banners that fly to the
Back
sky.
then?
No, Arnold.
I was like, wait, what?
That whole riff was not the things that they had then.
I thought it was accurate.
No.
I'm just kidding. Kind of. So the investigators at Pinkerton also searched many different locations in the area that Dorothy was known to visit, but they also didn't find anything. The investigators questioned Dorothy's friends and old college classmates, but no one had seen her.
Except for Gladys.
Well, yeah,
Where's Gladys in this?
well, they knew that they saw her, because obviously they're not including that because that was what we already talked about.
Sorry, I
So
just...
chill out with Gladys.
It just
okay?
felt like they didn't know about Gladys.
Forget about Gladys.
I'm never gonna forget about
Forget about Gladys.
Never.
Because Keith had found folders for transatlantic ocean liners in Dorothy's room, the Pinkerton detectives theorized that she could have eloped with a man to Europe.
Ooh, but did she have a man?
We'll find out. Marriage records were searched based on this theory, but still nothing was found. Agents were even sent overseas to search any ocean liners that were arriving from New York, but to no avail. With no luck from neither Keith nor the Pinkerton detectives, they finally convinced Mr. Arnold to contact the NYPD, which was 6 weeks after she went missing.
So far, I can't get over it.
Her dad's so annoying. Sorry, but it's true. Once taken to the police, they suggested that Arnold hold a press conference to get the most attention about the disappearance, but Mr. Arnold was very hesitant at first, but finally he gave in and decided to do it. On January 25th, 1911, reporters were gathered for a press conference where Mr. Arnold informed everyone of Dorothy's disappearance and offered a $1,000 reward for any information that led to her whereabouts.
I wonder what that was equivalent to.
Well, I looked it up. It's your lucky day.
Oh, thank God.
Around $31,000.
Okay, nothing to scoff at.
The reporters at the press conference asked Mr. Arnold if it were possible his daughter ran away with a man since he did not let her date. His response was, and I quote, "I would have been glad to see her associate more with young men than she did, especially some young men of brains and position, one whose profession or business would keep him occupied. I don't approve of young men who have nothing to do." So reporters found out because of that. They were like, that seems like there was somebody that he didn't approve of.
Right.
So they looked into it, and they found out that Mr. Arnold's comment was about George Griscom Jr.,
That's another 1900s name.
yes, who was a man that Dorothy met at Bryn Mawr, and she had become romantically involved with him. George Griscom Jr., who preferred to be called Junior, so that's what we will call him.
We gotta respect him. Respect the
Junior.
name of choice.
Junior. He was a 42-year-old engineer coming from a wealthy Pennsylvania family.
Ooh.
So he was much older than her.
So not much of a junior after all.
She was 25, and he was 42.
So more of a senior, I'd say.
So they described him as a plump, sideburned man who lived with his elderly parents in Pittsburgh and summered in Nantucket.
What's with these descriptions?
I know, right?
Plump and sturdy. Neither one of those are
Right? That's fine.
like...
Back in the day, it was like better for women to not be like super thin because it showed like if they had hips, they were like good birthers, you know? So that was
Isn't
like...
that all we are in the end?
Right. We're just fucking baby makers.
Just birthers.
Baby factories.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, when his parents traveled, he always tagged along. It is also said from several sources that his mother still bought his shirt and ties for him. I'm like,
Don't judge him.
no, I'm not, because me and Bev still have to get Cameron his clothes. So anyway, so it was also discovered that in September of 1910, Dorothy had told her parents she was going to visit an old classmate from Bryn Mawr in Boston, but instead she spent a week in the Hotel Lenox with Junior. Ow, ow. So, anyway, her parents found out about this tryst after, that was my word. I like that word, tryst. Anyway, her parents found out about this tryst after Dorothy pawned $500 worth of jewels to pay for their week-long rendezvous.
Oh, okay.
And she got $60 for them.
It's a decent chunk, though.
Back then, yeah. So when Dorothy returned home, her parents told her she wasn't allowed to see Junior anymore, claiming that he was unsuitable.
But I thought he had a rich family.
He did, but he didn't do shit.
Oh,
so
right,
her
right,
dad's
right.
like, he's no man.
Right, like he said earlier.
Yeah. Although she was forbidden to stay in contact with her Junior, she did anyway. Of course. The last time they saw each other was in early November before Junior and his family left on vacation. So after Dorothy's disappearance, they found that Junior was in Florence, Italy, vacationing with his family. So the Arnold family actually sent him a telegram on December 16th asking for any information on their daughter's disappearance. He denied knowing anything of it.
Well, he was in another continent.
Right. But did he? I don't know. In early January of 1911, Dorothy's mother and brother John traveled all the way to Italy to interrogate Junior themselves. Junior continued to say that he knew nothing of Dorothy's disappearance. It said that John punched Junior.
Damn, okay.
It's like, what'd you do to my sister? But Mary and John demanded the letters Junior had received from Dorothy. He claimed that there was nothing of importance in the letters and that he had destroyed them.
Oh, I don't believe you.
It's kind of sketchy.
I don't believe you.
So when Junior returned to the U.S. in February, he told reporters he planned to marry Dorothy with her mother's approval.
Oh.
But when asked, Mary said she would never approve of their marriage.
So he lied.
Well.
Or she lied.
He was saying, like, he would only marry her if he had her mother's approval.
Oh, I thought that he was
So when they asked, yeah, that was a little weird how I
thought
worded
that
it.
he was saying he already had it. And I was like, well, then that's some tomfoolery.
Later that month, hotel clerks at the hotel Junior was staying at had said they saw a veiled woman come into the hotel that they believed to be Dorothy.
That's a little sus.
And she was with a man.
A plump man?
An older.
Plump man?
No.
A plump mustachioed man?
Well, to visit him. Like, they said they saw Junior talking to her, a veiled woman, and another man.
Okay.
So there's speculation that her brother took her to see him.
Ooh, but he punched him in the face.
Right. But she appeared to be agitated talking to him. So the months after Dorothy's disappearance, Junior spent thousands on ads in major newspapers asking her to come home. Which, to me, I'm kind of like, are you overdoing it a little bit?
I don't know. Is there an amount that it becomes overdoing it?
I don't know. I don't know. Just seems weird. Also, the fact that, like, why didn't he pay for their week-long tryst? He's got money.
That's true, too. Maybe it's just his parents' money, since he's a man-child.
Yeah, but, I mean, she took her parents' money, too.
True. Maybe they had their money locked down more.
So, by the end of January 1911, the NYPD believed that Dorothy left of her own accord and would come home when she felt like it. So they shut down the investigation.
Well, they haven't gotten much.
Her family disagreed. They believed that Dorothy was dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, her dad did.
Oh.
Mr. Arnold told the press that he believed his daughter had been attacked and killed in Central Park on her way home, and that the killer threw her body into the Central Park Reservoir.
It's really specific.
I know, it's very specific. I'm like, that's weird. Francis said he believed this because of 2 clues they found, but he would not tell anyone what those clues were that led him to believe this.
That's a little weird.
Like,
that's all weird. Everything about that's weird.
He's weird. Her dad is, like, fucking weird. So then, the police dismissed the theory because when Dorothy went missing, the reservoir was frozen. Like, it was 21 degrees when she went missing.
Legit December.
And it was frozen. So there's no way that she was in there.
It was legit December in New York City.
Right. Yeah. But they did still look when it thawed, and they looked throughout Central Park and didn't find a trace of her. So now we're going to get into the possible sightings and maybe letters from her. Once the police were involved, they started circulating her picture, description, and reward information constantly throughout the U.S., Canada, and Mexico.
But what about the fact that she's transatlantic?
Right.
Oh, I have to cough.
The New York Times even covered the story nearly every day. Every day. Which I'm like, I mean, that's nice that they did that, but also, like, it makes me sad because she's a socialite, so of course she's getting all of the attention, but, like, how many other people went missing and no one knew anything about it? You know what I mean?
That's then, that's now.
Right, I know, and it's so sad that that's the way it has to be.
That's
But I feel like nowadays, like with social media and stuff, it's a lot easier for people who are not celebrities or not like rich or anything to like kind of go global with it.
That's true. But I mean, like, you still gotta think about like things like when like Gabby Petito and like
Right.
how quickly that was solved because
Right.
it went like viral, which of course, obviously, it's always good when things are solved, but like that's that's good. But like she's still like a white blonde.
Right.
Like,
that's true. That's sad.
Type of missing person that people flock to. It's like Elizabeth Smart and
Right.
John Benet Ramsey.
Yeah.
All of the huge, like, popular cases, if you really look at
Right. Yeah.
victim profile, it's always the same.
Yeah. You're not
for the
wrong.
most part.
So this led to many calls from all over the U.S. claiming to have seen Dorothy, but none of them panned out. The Arnold family also received 2 ransom notes asking for upwards of $5,000. These kidnapping claims were later proved to be hoaxes, though.
That's kind of the problem, too, with, like,
Just
things
scammers.
being so, like, out there. Like, obviously,
Like public,
you need
yeah.
the information out there for, like, people to help, but then you also open the door
To
be,
all of
like,
the people looking
scammed
for a quick buck.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
and then now you got to worry about, are you giving ransom money to somebody who has literally nothing to do with it? And
Right.
it's just
Trying to get money. So in early February of 1911, Frances Arnold, which was her dad, received a postcard stating, "I am safe." And then it was signed Dorothy. The signature and the handwriting was analyzed with some of Dorothy's writings, and they believed that it was Dorothy's handwriting.
Oh.
But Mr. She literally rubbed against it and hit me in the face with a microphone. Thanks, Minerva. I was just like, Minerva, quit. You're being a pest.
That was so funny for no reason. She just hit you in the face.
She did. You're rude. So they said they thought it was her handwriting. Mr. Arnold, of course, didn't believe it and chalked it up to being a cruel choke.
A cruel choke.
Mr. Arnold didn't believe this and chalked it up to being a cruel joke.
Well, you know, there's only really 2 kinds of cruel chokes. There's a cruel choke, and then there's a cruel choke.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, he thought...
We got a little off topic.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
What? Quebec. Oh, yeah, no, that's it.
I have the cat.
Okay, so Dorothy's dad said he believed someone just copied her handwriting that they saw in the newspaper.
Yeah, but like, okay, devil's advocate. It's not that easy to copy handwriting. Like,
No.
you can do it, but like, you'd have to really try.
Right.
Like, what was published again was like, how much of it was published? Was it enough to make an actual handwriting sample and then copy it?
Right, I
I
wouldn't think so,
wouldn't
but...
think so either.
And then around the same time that Mr. Arnold received the postcard, a jeweler in San Francisco, California claimed Dorothy came into the shop and had him engrave a diamond wedding ring for her.
Oh.
The inscription read to AJA from ERB, December 10th, 1910. But I don't know what those would mean.
No.
So soon after the NYPD announced they would no longer be investigating Dorothy's disappearance because they believed her to be dead. They stated that now, in quotes, that now seems the only reasonable way of looking at the case. The girl has now been missing for 75 days, and in all that time, not a single clue has been found that was worth the name. We have no evidence that a crime has been committed, and the case is now one of a missing person and nothing more. There are many, 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 many theories of what happened to her. And this case has been, like, pretty popular throughout the years. Like, people still wondering what happened to her. One of the claims was amnesia.
Okay.
Some believe that maybe Dorothy had slipped on the icy sidewalk and hit her head, leaving her with total amnesia in a hospital somewhere.
But they checked the hospitals.
So that doesn't pan out. And also, there was no one that fit her description who suffered a concussion in the hospitals at that time. And then another one is abduction, possibly.
By aliens or people?
People. Some people believed she may have been drugged and abducted, but the police didn't believe this could have happened because she was last seen on such a busy street in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, it was like literally like 2 p.m.
And like, because she's a socialite, people know her.
Right.
Like, it wasn't
Serena
just some...
Vanderwoodson
Right, it wasn't just some like Jane Doe walking on the road.
Like Blair Waldorf walking down the street.
Right, people know her. But suicide was another option. George Criscom Jr., Arnold's boyfriend, thought she may have committed suicide due to her failed writing career. Jr. said he received a letter from Dorothy shortly after her second short story was rejected that stated, "Well, it has come back. McClure's has turned me down. Failure stares me in the face. All I can see ahead is a long road with no turning. Mother will always think an accident has happened."
What?
That's kind of weird.
That's a weird thing to say. That's a weird way of wording that.
Some of Dorothy's friends and family thought she may have committed suicide as well, but because her and Junior's relationship was starting to fall apart. So they're like, oh, she was not only being rejected as a writer, but her and her boyfriend were in bad spot, so maybe she committed suicide. But then again, like, what happened to her body?
Exactly.
Like...
And like, if you were gonna commit suicide, wouldn't you do it at home? Or like at...
Right. So where someone would find you.
Not like at the end of a shopping spree when you have chocolates in a book.
Right. And also she had been looking forward to her sister's coming out. Like, she was excited about it. So, like, if she committed suicide, it'd just be a weird time because she was so excited for that. Okay, so the next theory.
I'm ready.
Was an unwanted pregnancy.
Okay.
So this was one of the more popular theories. That Dorothy had become pregnant and sought out an abortion and died after the procedure was botched, then buried or cremated secretly. This theory actually gained some momentum when in early April 1916, an illegal abortion clinic was raided by police. The illegal abortion clinic was in a basement of a home in Bellevue, Pennsylvania. The clinic was operated by Dr. C.C. Meredith, and it became known as the House of Mystery, which is actually pretty popular because many women from the area actually went missing after visiting the clinic. One of the doctors who worked at the clinic, named H.E. Lutz, testified that Dr. Meredith told him that Dorothy died in the clinic after suffering complications after an abortion. They said her body was burned in the furnace. Again, Dorothy's father did not believe this theory. He felt that it was ridiculous and absolutely untrue.
Well, one, he thinks she's dead. And
right.
2, for a man who didn't report her missing for 6 weeks because of what it would do to their family's reputation, her being pregnant is like the last thing that he wants on their family name.
Right. And then getting an abortion, So 5 years after Dorothy's disappearance, in April 1916, a convicted felon named Edward Glenarus claimed that he was paid $250 to bury a body of a young woman in December 1910. He told the prison warden, who then told the authorities that an acquaintance of his known as Little Louie hired him to drive a woman from a home in New Rochelle to West Point, New York. When Glenarus and Little Louie got to the home in New Rochelle, they met 2 men. One was known as Doc, and the other one Glenarus did not know the name of, but he described him as wealthy and well-dressed, which could match the description of Junior. So then, Glenarus and Little Louie loaded her in the car and drove her to a house in Weehawken, New Jersey, which I always think of Weehawken, Dawn, from Hamilton. When they're meeting in Weehawken. Okay. Yeah.
You didn't do the enunciation right on that, so
Oh, sorry.
I didn't catch the reference right away.
So,
yeah, wow, now I'm thinking about that too.
Yeah. On the drive to New Jersey, Glenarus said that Little Louie told him that the unconscious woman they were transporting was Dorothy Arnold. Glenarus said that he remembered seeing Dorothy's picture around, and the woman that he retrieved looked just like her. He also recalled a signet ring, which, if you don't know what that means, is a seal or stamp for signing official documents, like unique to a person, on the woman's index finger of her left hand that matched a ring that Dorothy owned.
Bring back signet rings.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
That'd be so cool.
Like, every time you, sign on, not that we sign letters anymore, but I would write more letters if I had a signet ring.
Same.
The next day, Glenarus was contacted again to finish the job, is what they said. When he returned to Weehawken to pick up the woman, The man called Doc told him and little Louie that the woman died during an operation. Glenarus said that he drove the woman's body back to the home in New Rochelle, wrapped her in a sheet, and buried her in the cellar of the home. When law enforcement interviewed Glenarus, he acted confused and claimed he knew nothing about Dorothy Arnold's whereabouts. The police did follow up on his claims about burying the body in a cellar of a home in New Rochelle, so they did excavate several cellars in the area but did not locate anything. Which, I mean, they just based it on, like, a rough location of what he remembered.
And there's, like, probably lots of cellars.
But, yeah.
So you can't dig them all up, so...
And here we go again with Mr. Arnold. He denied Glenarus's claim, stating, "So far it appears on the face of the man's story, he is talking utter nonsense."
Well, it is sort of true that it's just what he's saying.
Right, and he was a convicted felon. Let's not forget that. He is also
saying things like signet ring.
Right.
Which, like, how would he know that she even had one?
Right. And honestly, that seems like a pretty extensive story to be completely false.
Yeah, exactly.
Very detailed. We'll look at kind of like what happened after. So the Arnold family continued to get letters from women who claimed to be Dorothy, but these were all investigated and they were all found to be hoaxes. Which, like, what a kind of shitty person.
There's lots of shitty people in the world.
That's so horrible. Like,
There's
why would you...
Lots of them.
Like, write letters to the family of somebody who went... It's stupid. Like, that's torture. Like I know. It's horrible.
People are horrible.
And then one letter came from an attorney in California saying that Dorothy was actually living in Los Angeles, California under the name Ella Nevins. And of course, Dorothy's father again disputed this.
Does he even want to find her?
Huh?
Does he even want to find her?
I know, that's what it seems like. It's just like he just wants it to be done.
Like, every single thing that happens, like,
but
every single thing. When you want to know what actually happens, like...
This next portion is kind of interesting.
Okay.
Dorothy's case started to get attention again on April 8th, 1921, because in a lecture he was giving, John H. Ayers, who was the New York captain of the Bureau of Missing Persons, claimed that Dorothy's fate was known by the Bureau and her parents, but he would not elaborate any more on the subject. The following day, Ayers was asked about the statement he made, but he said he was misquoted and denied knowing anything about Dorothy Arnold's disappearance.
Do you know what I think is
That's sketchy.
Do you want to know what I think is kind of interesting about that?
What?
It makes me feel like they made some kind of deal.
Right.
Like, maybe it was the abortion clinic.
Right.
And then, like...
They found out, but...
They helped somehow, but they were like, we don't want it known that she got an abortion, so keep it on the DL.
Right.
And so then they knew what happened, but then they couldn't say they
See, that's what I thought, too. Because,
I
mean...
feel like it ties in with that clinic thing.
The fact that he would say that and then be like, oh, no, that's not true. I was misquoted.
That's
but,
like,
probably because, like, somebody was like, hey, why did you say that? And then he's like, oh, shit.
It's a stupid thing to say, to be honest.
Right, especially being, like, the captain.
And if it's clearly a secret, why would you even bring up...
Right.
That you guys knew? Like, that's... You think you're just going to say that offhandedly and people aren't going to be like, what? Right.
And, like, she was a socialite. She was well known. This is a very high-profile case. Of course, people are going to be interested in what you said. Francis Arnold, Dorothy's father, died on April 6, 1922. Over the years, he spent about $250,000 trying to find Dorothy, which that was, like, the equivalence to today. So it wasn't back then. Up until his dying day, he believed that his daughter was kidnapped and murdered on or shortly after she disappeared. And this is kind of odd. Because he believed she was not alive, he did not leave her anything in his will, stating that he was satisfied that she is not alive. So he didn't include her because of that.
Well, here's the thing on that. I don't know what here's the thing. I don't know what I would do, because on one hand, you want to feel like if he didn't know she was alive, you would want to leave her something. Just on the off chance she came back, you don't want to leave her with nothing.
Right.
You wouldn't even care if that meant that money was never going to anybody ever, because you wouldn't want to leave her with absolutely nothing. On the other hand, it would seem so wasteful to, like, leave money that just would be, like, floating in the air.
That kind of also leaves, like, people to try to come in to, like, be like, I'm
true, like Anastasia.
Arnold. Yeah.
And then also second to that, sort of, like, bolsters the whole he knows what happened theory, because then he would obviously know that there's no point in leaving her money. Mm-hmm. So then he wouldn't.
So then Mary Arnold, Dorothy's mother, died on December 29th, 1928. Mary never believed that Dorothy had died. She always held on to hope that she was still alive.
But then that's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Because if they knew what happened, then why is she holding on hope unless she's doing that?
Unless she's not a part of it.
Unless she's not a part of it, or unless she's like, it'll probably look less suspicious if one of us acts like she
Which I don't think back then that, honestly, what I think was that, like, the dad knew. And he's like, don't tell Mary, she won't be able to handle it because she's a frail woman. You know what I mean?
Right. 1910
like, women can't handle anything type of thing.
Sure, so she could just, not know.
She might not have known. She might have just been kept out of the loop. So it was just a deal between the dad and the cops.
And he seems like the type.
Yeah, he does. Once Mary died, Keith, the lawyer guy, made a claim that he believed Dorothy died by suicide due to her failings in her writing. I'm like, why do you get an opinion?
I don't like that theory.
I don't either, because I'm like, where's her body?
And again, why would that happen after she was going shopping and she had...
Right.
And she had a book and chocolate, and then she went and did what?
Right.
Killed herself in Central Park with no weapon.
Right.
In a frozen lake, so it's not like she could...
And they're like, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And then in an obituary for Mary, United Press Associations referenced the hunt for Dorothy as the really great search of the age and one that didn't much to develop modern newspaper police coverage. Kind of odd to mention in an obituary.
Yeah.
Like,
that's read the
weird.
Room. Read the room, she says.
Like, that's kind of weird.
No, that's really, really strange.
Yeah. So, that's what I have on Dorothy. I think it was the abortion. Because she spent that time with Junior in September, that whole week.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In November, she went to Theodora's house, and she didn't feel good. She told Theodora it was because of her period. I did read that. But was she lying because she knew she was pregnant?
Could have been.
And was the package that she received at Theodora from Junior giving her money for the abortion? Like the doc guy that the Glennerous guy said was maybe a doctor that did the abortion, and the wealthy man was Junior. And it was all covered up because high society shit.
And because he would go to jail. Whoever performed it would go to jail for killing her.
Right, because it was illegal.
And also probably because it was illegal. So like manslaughter plus illegal abortion clinic. So obviously they're like, well, we can't have people find out about this.
So I think that the cops and the dad and Junior were all in on it, and I think they covered it up.
I think they were in on it from the beginning?
No.
I think somewhere along the line, like when the abortion clinic was busted,
I think they found out.
Like maybe her name was on a list, or
right.
Because I feel like you'd keep records of some kind. I don't know.
Right.
I feel like that's probably when they found out.
Yeah, I think so. And I think they covered it up because it would ruin the reputation of the family.
I'd say so. That feels like that has the most weight behind it, especially with that guy who was, he was a felon, but he had
he was making claims that
a lot of information
were very detailed that seems kind of weird for him to make up. And he matched. How would he know about that signet ring?
That's me on that one.
Like, there's no way he would have known that.
He would have to have known her.
And then when he claimed that he didn't know anything about her after, because somebody got to him because they heard what he said through the police.
Right.
So then they probably threatened him or something.
Gave him hella money. Mm-hmm. Isn't that kind of ironic that there's an abortion clinic involved in your story?
Yeah.
So like you picked this before, right?
Yes, I picked this before I knew. I wanted to do a disappearance.
Yes.
And I kind of wanted to do like a high profile one. Okay. Because honestly, I was looking into more like Hollywood, old Hollywood stuff because I really like that.
Yeah.
But then I found this about the socialite or whatever, high society girl. And I was like, oh, that would be interesting. And so I was like, yeah, let's do that. And then I started reading it and I was doing research on it. And it was maybe a day or two after Roe versus Wade was overturned. And I was like, isn't that odd that like this poor girl probably, in my opinion, could have possibly had an abortion and it was illegal then and it is now illegal now. So like, what, 110 years, 112 years?
Yeah.
That's how far we went back in time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now we're going to have people going to illegal abortion clinics and doing the same thing.
Right.
Because they're not going to have any other choice in the matter.
Right.
And the same thing's going to happen. People are going to die from it.
We want people to have equal health care, and I can't even find the right words because I'm so mad. I don't know. You're more eloquent than I am.
No, but I've been pissed for.
I know. I'm so mad just thinking about it
because I could have brought
like,
it up last week, but I think it was too fresh last week, and I was still too. I mean, I'm still too pissed to put things into words. But
it's just like
really like I couldn't even vocalize last week.
Wish people would take religion out of everything.
It's so
they use it as an excuse to have more power.
It's so frustrating too because like religion is not supposed to be in politics.
No, it's not.
It's in the fucking Constitution, the separation of church and state.
Right.
It's in the laws you fucking love so much.
Right.
Like it's not supposed to. It's so baffling to me. I mean, it's baffling to me even thinking back to like elementary school and like pledging allegiance to the flag and like all of the weird shit. Like that's weird because not everybody, like I don't even know if I remember the whole pledge, but there's something about God in it, right?
Yeah.
And that's
one nation under God.
So weird to me when there's so many religions in this country that we did that. And like it's like looking back, that's weird. And then now as time goes on, we should be getting further away from that, not going back in time to a time when you just think like everyone is just Christian. That's not the case. Like I don't understand. It's just so frustrating to me because our government is ruled by people who no longer represent the majority in this country. We are being ruled by elderly men, elderly white men who have no concept of anything other than what they want to do and
power
and
money.
They want to go back to, I saw a TikTok and it said something about like all of the government is trying to do right now is try to go back to how it was when they started their careers. Mm-hmm. So they've been in politics, 30, 40 years, and they're just trying to go back to that.
Yeah.
I'm getting out of breath from talking too fast.
Well, it's just really frustrating to see that and to know like our lives are in danger. Like,
and that's the thing, because this isn't even like pro-life people sit here and say, well, stop trying to kill babies. But you have to realize it isn't just about like unwanted pregnancy. It could be about somebody who wants a baby, wants a pregnancy, and then something happens where now they could die because of it, and they don't want to have an abortion, but it's a choice between a 20-week-old fetus. It's a fetus, not a baby. Life begins at birth was also in the Bible. Look it up. Like, it could be somebody who has wanted a baby. I know so many people who have had so many miscarriages, and all they want is a baby, but like they're probably going to get to the point where they feel like they can't even risk it. They can't even risk trying to have a baby because they know they have those complications, and it's putting their own lives in jeopardy.
Or ectopic pregnancies. I mean, the statistics say 1 in 3 women have had an abortion.
Yeah.
In this country.
Yeah.
And it's not because they're using it as birth control or, and who cares? It's not your body. And who cares what people do? And and whoever is like saying that, oh, it doesn't affect me, it's not that big of a deal. Well, wait until they start taking something that you value away.
I'm sorry, even people who say this doesn't impact them, like, and I hate using the, like, think about your wives, thinking about your daughters, think about your sisters, because you should care even if it doesn't impact you, but wait until your wife has a dangerous, life-threatening pregnancy and you lose her because she's not allowed to get an abortion.
Right.
It can impact you even if you think it has nothing to do with you. It's not just, and like, also, like, just to be fair, even if you just don't want a baby, whatever.
Right.
I don't care. That's your business still. But I'm kind of coming at it from the mindset of trying to think about the people who are like you got to come at pro-life. You have to come at pro-life people with a certain mindset. And that's something that I feel like they don't think about a lot. They think,
I just wish people could mind their own business. It's okay that if you don't agree with abortion. If you don't agree with abortion, that is your opinion. That's your stance on it, but it is not impacting you. So why do you feel that you have to push your opinions on other people? It's not your body. It's not just leave it alone.
Not even just your opinions, like it's your religious beliefs. You're pushing your opinions and your views on religion onto somebody else.
Right. Like, it's not fair.
And that's not what this country is supposed to be about. Like,
it's pushing to
Christian
be about
beliefs on people.
Free will, free choice, free speech. Like, it's only free will, free choice, free speech for the people that... It's only for them. That's all that matters. As soon as somebody tries to take that away from them, they're the first ones that get up there and start bitching or fucking rushing the Capitol.
Literally. Fucking ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but there's like, okay, so here's the thing. Like, I'm also at the point where even Democrats are pissing me off. Because Biden could do something if he really wanted to. And Camilla could do something if she really wanted to. And they aren't doing anything. And there's so many Democrats that are using this as like a push to try to get people to vote. And it's always just the same shit. But then you don't do anything. And I'm so tired of it being like, and I saw a TikTok about this too, these two girls being interviewed and they're like, I don't want my rights being taken away, or it's not a fundraising push for you.
Right.
Like it was somebody getting like a text like from like a Biden campaign being like, donate.
I saw that too.
It's like, it's not a fundraising push that my rights are being taken away. You're not doing anything. And
shame on you.
And the only people who I feel like are like AOC, like I love her. I feel like Elizabeth Warren, and then there's so many like young, there's so many like young like women who are like, or like young, 30s, 40s even, like, Elizabeth Warren, I don't know how old she is, but she's like older.
Yeah.
She's like 50s probably.
Oh, she's older than that.
She's older than 50. Oh, you look good, Elizabeth. You look good, Liz.
I feel like she's like 70 something.
Damn, really?
Hey,
well,
Siri.
She's very progressive for her age.
How old
then.
is Elizabeth Warren?
But then so is Bernie.
Elizabeth Warren is 73 years old.
You look good. You look good, Liz. Does she not look good, though?
She does, yeah.
She looks good.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's so many, like, younger, like, people of color.
Right, and
like,
that's the thing. We're living in an antiquated mindset.
I'm like, can you just be president, please?
Right.
And then it's also horrible to think about. Like, we're sitting here getting rights taken away. We haven't even have a female president yet.
Right.
We just got our first vice president who's a female. And now... we're going back in time. You think there's a chance we're going to get a female president now?
No. I have very little hope. So far back in time, it's sad.
I really just want to move. All the people who probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast at this point after our rant about gun control, whatever episode that was, like, who say, then fuck it, if you hate America so much, leave. Okay, I will.
Right.
Like, that's not a diss to me. Like, people are always like, then fucking leave. I'm like, okay, say less.
Right.
But then also the problem with that is that our capitalism and the fucking economy makes it so hard to leave because I have $5 in savings. So how am I going to move across the sea?
Right.
Or even to Canada? Like, how are you supposed to get there when we live in a world where nobody can get ahead unless you're already old and ahead?
Yep.
Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible because people do it, but, like, it's not as easy to just do whatever you want. Also, I have cats, so it's hard to cross the sea with all my cats. But, yeah, I'm like, I'll leave right now.
Yeah.
Say less. You want me to leave? How about this? You listening to this and you're Republican and you want me to leave the country? Buy me a plane ticket. Get me out of here. I have very little hope that we can recover from this.
Pay for my transportation.
And I know
my moving fees.
People are so like, no, it's not over. Like, we can turn this around. I have very little hope.
I know.
I have very low hope.
I mean, we can't give up hope.
I know, but it's low.
And I mean, it's in our hands. And I mean, that's a good segue that we need to get involved and do what we can. And I was talking to Alex beforehand about this, and I was like telling him how I kind of wanted to tie in parallels between the abortion things 110 years ago to now. And he was like, I think it'd also be cool to talk about like the companies that are actually supporting their employees.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to shout out some of the companies that are helping their employees, saying that they'll pay for the cost or the travel cost for abortions.
I don't want to take the wind out of your sails, but can I say one thing regarding that?
Yeah.
Thanks for doing the bare minimum companies, but they also probably did the math and realized that an abortion is cheaper than dealing with maternity leave.
Well,
so
okay, well, if you put it that way, but just some of them, we value all of you, but I'm not going through the whole list because it's very long.
Not as long as the list of people who are secretly funding pro-life politicians and organizations.
You know who's not going to be on this list? Who? Target?
I saw that Target funds pro-life politicians.
I think they're on this list.
I know, but if you look up, like, I saw them on a good list too, but I saw them on several bad lists. So I feel like we also have to take these lists with a grain of salt because we don't know. I did see Target on a bad list. Yeah. So.
Well, Amazon is one. Bumble, which I thought was interesting. BuzzFeed, CNN, CVS, Dick's Sporting Goods, Estee Lauder, Hewlett Packard, JP Morgan Chase, Kroger, New York Times, MasterCard, Microsoft, Paramount, PayPal, Starbucks, Target is on here.
Take that with a grain of salt.
Tesla, Walt Disney, Yelp, Yahoo, Zillow. That's just a few. But we'll link in our show notes. I know Morgan has already done it in our last episode and we didn't talk about it, but
I was too heated last week.
We're going to put them here and we're saying it now. PlannedParenthood.org is a good place to go if you want to make a difference. ReproductiveRights.org, I believe, is another one.
And the one I linked last week and what we'll link again is to find a protests near you.
Yeah. If you feel so inclined.
Safely.
Yes, safely.
Make sure if you're going to protest that you look at TikToks or Google. There's a lot of resources on like how to safely protest, especially the court. You heard that they overturned. You don't have to tell people Miranda rights before you arrest them or whatever now, right?
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that got overturned right before Roe v. Wade, and people think that was on purpose for the protests.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt in my mind.
So make sure if you're protesting safely.
Right, and no matter how heated you get, because I know it's frustrating and it's discouraging.
Don't punch people in the face, even if they deserve it.
We want to set a good example and not be like the others.
Though if I could punch the Supreme Court justices in the face, I would.
Each one. Bop, bop, bop. Bop, 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 bop.
Yeah, exactly.
So, lighter news.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we got a review, and we promised we'd read reviews out loud. So we're going to read it, and it's from Jamie, right? Mm-hmm. Who also blew up our Instagram.
Yes, thank you, Jamie.
So hopefully you're still listening. We haven't lost you. Yeah, Jamie reviewed. Oh, we got 5 stars. The title says funny and interesting.
Which I am so glad that funny was the first word used to describe us.
That's what you want to be first.
That makes me so happy.
You don't want it to be interesting and funny?
No, funny and interesting.
Okay. And it says, I've been binge listening since I found it. I love the topics and theories. Lots of good mysteries. Keep them coming.
Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate you.
We will keep them coming. Thank you for the review. We really appreciate it.
You are our first person that gave us a review that we don't know.
Who isn't our producer.
Or our family, because my mom is our biggest fan. She always gives us a little her take on the episode.
I'm waiting for you to screenshot every take she's ever given you so that I can start using them for Instagram fodder. Because I really think it would be so much fun.
It would be cute. She loves us.
She's got the best takes after every episode.
But I'll tell you, it is nice knowing that people are out there listening to us who aren't related or our friends.
I know. I love that.
Also, I want to know where you found us.
Jamie, Loki, can you hit us up and tell us how you came across the show so that we know?
Just for our reference and our take.
I try to mark it, but we're so small that it's hard to know the best way. So yeah, we'd be very curious to know if we just popped up some on Instagram, or if it was from I doubt we're on any kind of podcast list, so I don't feel like it could just come up on Apple Podcasts or anything. So
message us on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, it's fine. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. But I'm curious to know.
I am too, because you're definitely. We are well aware that there are people listening that we don't know.
Right, but because we just got 2 in South Africa.
Hey, South Africa.
Hey.
Yeah, I would be. Oh, yeah. What I was saying was, you're our first person that we've like really interacted with that we don't know.
Yeah.
Because, like, we have listeners, love y'all, and we have some Instagram followers, but we know a good chunk of them.
The majority of them.
And so, yeah, you're the first person who we don't know. So, like, we would love to hear how you found us so that we can learn from that and hopefully have more people who
and you
know.
Are
MVP.
gonna, yeah, MVP, VIP.
VIP.
So, we were talking about our socials, so.
Oh, yeah, so just if you're not following us already, Instagram is like really, I promise you, really useful. If you listened to the last episode and you did not look at the Instagram to see the portholes, you're missing out on basically what made that. Like, it was hard to listen to that part. Speaking of the Titanic episode, y'all, in case you didn't see the Instagram, when we were talking about the windows and the switch theory, and I posted it on Instagram, it was tagged as fake news. So bear that in mind with the switch theory, because apparently that picture's fake.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what part of it is fake. Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that was fake, but it was tagged as fake. And then I deleted it from the Instagram post because I didn't want a fake information tag on our Instagram. But then I posted it on our story so people could still see it. It tagged it the story too, but whatever. The story is a little less aggressive. I still wanted to post it. But yeah, I just wanted to share that, y'all, for those who listened last week, that window theory. The porthole theory is valid. The porthole theory was not tagged as anything. Right. But the window theory was tagged as fake. So I think that's very interesting. But yeah, Instagram is super useful, especially episodes like last week.
Visual aids are pretty. I also will have pictures for the Dorothy Arnold. Like, I found a lot of flyers of her missing. Pretty cool. Yeah,
so we always have, sometimes we have more, sometimes we have less, but we always have something on the Instagram. We have a Facebook page, which we mostly just post in to be like, hello, we have a new episode up.
Don't forget about us.
Yeah, and we have a Twitter, which I feel I have a good time on Twitter. I interact with a lot of other podcast people that we know, not a lot, like we have a whole circle, but like a couple. Which reminds me, I'm going to shout out Bree. If you like gaming or, I mean, really just listening to her talk, which I very much enjoy.
She has a very nice voice.
She really does.
I really like her.
So she streams on Twitch, and I never miss I've gotten to the point where I do not miss streams anymore. I watch every single one. And so she has a pretty, she's a decent following on TikTok. She's like over 20,000 followers, and then she has 2,000 on Twitch. And so she has a podcast called
Silent Thoughts.
I know, I couldn't remember if it was like Silent Thoughts, if there was something else added, but yeah, Silent Thoughts, where she talks about things that she either doesn't want to talk about like live on stream, or just like something she can go more detailed into because she can't really deep talk when she's trying to keep me from dying on Apex. But yeah, you should check that out. She's a couple episodes, and it's very nice to listen to her talk, and they're also not that long. So they're really easy to just listen to. And then I really quickly wanted to shout out another video game podcast. To find it, though. There it is.
And, of course, Zoe Gaming.
Okay, Zoe Gaming, we every week, like, if you haven't listened to our episode that we were featured in, go check it out. You can watch it on YouTube live. You can watch it. You can listen to it on all streaming services. Yeah. And you can listen to the other episodes, too. Miara has been featured in
several times.
Because, again, like, they live in the same apartment, so it's very easy.
And Alex does a really good job. His interview style is really interesting, and he's going to have a lot more guests on, and so give him a follow, Zoe Gaming.
Yes, and then I met somebody when I don't know if anyone listens to Morbid up in here, maybe you do, but they had a live virtual show, and afterwards I was still in the chat, and I was started talking to somebody because I was like, hey, if anyone wants a podcast, because I mean, you gotta market where you can, okay? And I started talking to somebody who just started a podcast. It's called Everything Not Saved. But yeah, it's called Everything Not Saved. It's about video games and like and like deeper meanings, and it was very interesting.
That's cool.
They're longer episodes, but you know, there's nothing wrong with a long episode. They've had 2 so far, so you should check that out.
Is it 2 people?
Yes,
or okay,
Ellie
cool.
and Isabella.
Nice.
So check that out if you like video games. We have a lot of video game people on our periphery. We don't have any true crime or like mysterious stuff. So also if you're a podcast and you are true crime and you want to be our besties on Twitter, follow us. So I can talk. I love talking to people on Twitter and vibing, and we have a little network. So get us some people who aren't video game people y'all. Yeah.
That's okay though.
No, yeah, I'm down
video
with
game
it.
people seem to be pretty cool people. So.
Yeah, I agree. So that's all I have. That's all you have, and Minerva's getting feisty. So
she is. She's something else today.
She wants attention.
Sorry for the cat interludes.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
Not today.
So anyway, thank you all for listening. We appreciate you. We love you. Get involved if you feel so inclined. And we are...
Oh, you did that so quickly, yo. You didn't even give me any warning. The way she just sprawled out.
I know.
That was so funny.
So, yeah, anyway we are...
Okay, well, you keep doing it when I'm not ready.
You do it then.
No. And we are Mysteriosities.